Welcome everybody, welcome to another episode of Comic Finds, where my selection of comics are filled with creative expression, vibrant colors, and compelling characters, and a combination of amazing plots and engaging stories to keep you entertained for hours. Okay, not hours, the show is not an hour, it's 6 to 10, I'm trying to keep it within that range. My channel is constantly growing, so you're sure to find something new and exciting every time you visit. Whether you're a fan of superheroes, sci-fi, horror, or any other genre, I have comics for everyone. I have been blessed to be close to 3 comic book stores and able to get into the short boxes, the long boxes, and the amazing dollar bins. So you are sure never to run out of amazing stories to explore with me on this channel. With that being said, Comic Finds episode 4, grab a snack and let's just dive into another world of adventure. Our book for Comic Finds today is from Image called No One. No One is a crime suspense book. It has 2 writers. 2 writers. Not one, but 2. Those writers' names is Kyle Higgins and Brian Buccellato. And the artist is Gerald Borges. I had to look over and check it out. And this crime suspense comic starts off in, what do you think? No, not New York City. One would think New York City is like the best place for all the greatest detectives in the world, but no, this one is in Pittsburgh. And anybody who is from Pittsburgh, if you're watching this show and you get this comic, look inside the comic and let me know if there's any landmarks that are from Pittsburgh in this comic book. If not, they're just liars. But I hope they're not liars. I hope there's actually some landmarks in this comic book related to it. Who knows? I never know. Tell me. Okay. It starts off with a guy on the balcony with 4 bullet holes on his chest, starting off the crime scene off the very beginning. But not only does he have 4 bullet holes in his body, he is part of the elites. And therefore, this is where it begins. No one you could see from far, hiding in the dark, wearing armor and a mask and a cape, looking down at this balcony. Good old vigilante. I wonder where we got that one from. But the main characters, which is no one, you have a detective named Ben Kerr, and you'll have a 3rd character named Julia Page, a journalist. So the whole problem with this murder is it believed that no one is the one who started this whole problem. So no one, being the vigilante he is, he, she, we don't know because it's covered up or she's covered up, decided to release chunks of data against the elites of Pittsburgh, showing their corruption. So people just started killing them one by one, or maybe just one person killing them one by one. So we don't know if it's a serial killer or it's copycats. Now, can we blame no one for the deaths of these individuals? That's a good debate. You know, he did release chunks of data showing the corruption of these elites. Should they go to jail or should they just get killed by civilians of the city? Again, very debatable. Is he the real cause of this entire murders? I don't know. But they call these serial killings the Richard Roe murders. I guess he's the original person who got killed of the elites. So you will see at the very beginning of the storyline, Mr. Ben Kern, the detective Ben Kern, being the first detective on the scene, investigating like he's Sherlock Holmes. He is well established, well known, everybody knows him, and he's straight to business. The top detective in Pittsburgh. He gets to the scene, he's looking around, he sees other detectives doing absolutely nothing, and he's just going straight into his investigation. But during the course of his investigation, cops come up to the scene and say, "Hey, the chief wants you out here." And he's like, "Why?" And we find out why. The reason why he's getting kicked off the crime scene, not because he's not the best, he is the best, is that his son was arrested originally for the Richard Roe cases. Obviously, him being the best detective in the world, or in Pittsburgh, believes his son did not do it. And he's going to do everything he can to make sure that he proves that his son did not commit these murders. Okay? Like any other father would do. Plus him being the best detective in the world, and it kind of puts a hinder on his job, per se. Now, Julia Page is the journalist who actually put out all the information from no one, all the data and information of the corrupts and the elites. So she is like the head journalist for that particular paper. She's the go-to woman of that. But she feels like her job is being hindered. And the reason why she thinks it's hindered is because her company, her paper, is deciding to make a podcast. And she believes that this podcast is beneath her. Like, she's ears to the ground, hands on. She is the reporter, Lois Lane, you name it. She's out there. She's running and gunning. She will get the top story. But now she has no choice to deal with this gimmick of a podcast, and she hates it. She hates this gimmick. But this is the first book I've ever seen that has a QR code, and the QR code has the actual podcast of her story, her first story on podcasts, live. This is the first time ever in any comic book that you could actually listen to a podcast from the comic book with Julia Page talking about the Richard Roe murder and no one. But with that being said, there is a lot of reading going on in this book because there's two writers, and it does take away from the art of the story. But then again, the suspense story and the writers have thought of everything. I mean, like everything, including the QR code, the breakdown of the story. It has mugshots. It has everything of a file case would have as a detective. It's everything about the job or anything about the case is there for you to read. The suspects, the situations, the time frames, the newspaper articles. This is something different. This is something brand new. The story is amazing. The plots, the twists. You're gonna enjoy this. This is a great suspense crime book. With that being said, this is the end of the episode of Comic Finds. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And for the love of comic books, just keep reading.